Hold, outsider. You may be of my kind, but you are not Dalish. Why are you here? And what business is that? That is not a lie that many would attempt. I will bring you to the Keeper then, and he can decide if your business is worthwhile.
I see we have guests. And a hound amongst them. As if we haven't had enough problems with such creatures. Who are these strangers, Mithra? I have precious little patience and less time to spend on outsiders today.
This one claims to be a Grey Warden and wishes to speak with the clan. I thought it best to leave the decision to you.
That was wise of you. Masirinus, Mithra, you may return to your post.
Manuvinen, Keeper.
Now, allow me to introduce myself. I am Zafrian, the keeper of this clan, its guide and preserver of our ancient lore. And you are? If you came to bring news of the Blight in the south, it is not needed. I had already sensed its corruption. I would have taken the clan north by now, had we the ability to move. Sadly, as you can see, we do not. I imagine you are here regarding the treaty we signed centuries ago. Unfortunately, we may not be able to live up to the promise we made. This will require some explanation. Please, follow me. The clan came to the Brecillian Forest 1 month ago, as is our custom when we enter this part of Ferelden. We are always wary of the dangers in the forest, but we did not expect the werewolves would be lying in wait for us. They ambushed us, and though we drove the beasts back, much damage was done. Many of our warriors lie dying as we speak. Even with all our magic and healing skill, we will eventually be forced to slay our brethren to prevent them from becoming beasts. The Blight's evil must be stopped. But we are in no position to uphold our obligations. I am truly sorry. Not enough to make a difference for you, and not simultaneously leave us defenseless. There was a time in Ferelden's history when werebeasts roamed the lands in great numbers. Spirits possessed animals and turned them into horrific monsters. The humans warred against and destroyed these creatures. No doubt their tales of those days grow ever more inaccurate.
Werewolves are beasts not unlike abominations, possessed wolves driven mad.
The werebeasts are not all gone from this land, and the ones that stalk the Brecillian forests are proof of this. They are savage and unrelenting. They need no reason to attack anyone. What is curious, however, is the ambush. We expect werewolves to be no more cunning than a rabid wolf. The ambush suggests a level of intelligence we've never seen before. I doubt that. The very curse that is in their blood fills them with an unreasoning rage that precludes any true thought. The affliction is a curse that runs rampant in their blood, bringing great agony and then ultimately either death or a transformation into something monstrous. The only thing that could help them must come from the source of the curse itself, and that would be no trivial task to retrieve. I would not ask such a thing of anyone. You asked, did you not? Within the Brecillian Forest dwells a great wolf. We call him Witherfang. It was within him that the curse originated, and through his blood that it has been spread. If he is killed and his heart brought to me, perhaps I could destroy the curse. But this task has proven too dangerous for us. I sent some hunters into the forest a week ago, but they have not returned. I cannot risk any more of my clan. There is no guarantee that this will work, as I suspect, but it's the only hope we have left. I must warn you that more than werewolves lurk in the Brecillian Forest. It has a history full of carnage and murder, you see. Where there is so much death, the veil separating the spirit realm from our own becomes thin, allowing spirits to possess things, living or dead. But if you can indeed help, then I wish you luck. Then I suggest you see Master Verathorn. I will instruct him to put aside some supplies for you, the kind that the hunters use. I must return to caring for my people. Creator's speed on your way.
Underanitishan, Grey Warden. My name is Lanaya. I am Zathrian's first, what you might call an apprentice, perhaps. I've been studying under the Keeper all my life. I am a bit curious of the outside world. Do you mind if I ask you a question or two? What an odd thing to say. I mean about the outside world, of course. I hear the human cities are very large, thousands upon thousands of souls all packed together in their houses. Is that true? How very loud that must be with everyone talking all at once. I try to imagine those of our people living in such a place, surrounded by walls of stone and indifference. It is a difficult thought. What about you? What was life like amongst the humans? Oh, I'm saddened to hear that. You have my sympathies. It is said that one day we will have a land of our own. We Dalish gather the ancient wisdom in preparation for this. When that day comes, all elves, even those who have forgotten, will reclaim their former glory. I have one more question, though I'm not sure you can answer it. Do the humans ever regret what they did to us? And yet, even if some regret, they do nothing. A poet once wrote of them before the fall of the Dales. Like dragons they fly, glory upon wings. Like dragons, they savage, fearsome, pretty things. But you don't need me to quote poetry to you. Forgive me. Perhaps you have some questions of your own. Nothing that you could not ask Zathrian himself. He is the keeper of this clan and has been for a very long time. He is also a very good man who has lost much. The Dalish are everything to him, and he would do anything to protect them. He lost his family a very long time ago. I don't know the story, but I understand the circumstances were horrific. They have reason. Since the days of Arlathan, my people have been either subjugated or homeless. That was our second homeland. Our first was the great city of Arlathan. The Dales came when they were freed from enslavement. Elves everywhere journeyed hundreds and thousands of miles to the Dales, eager to start their lives anew. They called it the Long Walk. They reached the Dales and made it their own. And one day it was taken from us too, and you wonder why we are hostile. That's true, and you're not even a human, so it's doubly unfair. But fairness does not play into such feelings. No outsider has ever been good for us. I was not born here, so I see things differently from the others. Still, I do not blame them for what they feel. Perhaps this may change one day, but I believe the humans would have to take the first steps, if they are capable.
You call? Can I respond in poetry? No? How sad. I know little enough of the Dalish other than the fact that my mother was one, or so I was told. She had fallen in love with an elven woodcutter and accompanied him back to the city, leaving her clan behind for good. And there, of course, the woodcutter died of some filthy disease and my mother was forced into prostitution to pay off his debts. Oldest tale in the book. Is it? It seemed normal enough a tale growing up. No different than the other elven boys in the whorehouse. I didn't know my mother either, of course. She died giving birth to me. My first victim, as it were. We were all raised communally by the whores. It was a happy enough existence, ignoring the occasional beating. Until eventually I was sold to the crows. I brought a good price, so I hear. It could have been much worse. Shall I tell you about what happened to the other whorehouse boys who did not fetch a decent price with the crows? Surely your life has not been so idyllic. People like you and I are not the product of happy lives of contentment, after all. My original point is that my mother's Dalish nature was always a point of fascination for me. Through all the years of my crow training, the one thing of my mother's that I possessed was a pair of gloves. They were of Dalish make, I knew that much, and beautiful. I had to keep them hidden, of course, as we were not allowed such things. Eventually, they were discovered, and I never saw them again. Oh, there has been plenty. To tell the truth, it is because I expected nothing more. Still, even I eventually thought that it would be better for me if I ran off to join the famous Dalish when one of their clans drew near Antiva city. Naturally, the reality did not live up at all to the fantasies I had constructed as a boy, staring at those gloves. But such is life. Come, enough talk of the Dalish. Let us move on.
I have not given this a lot of thought. What will I do? We've traveled far and wide. Does it need to end? There's so much out there. Adventures to be had and stories to be told. I want to be part of it all. I might need some company. And you're not too irritating. You're welcome to come along if you like. It is settled then. You and I wandering the world, seeking our fortunes. I can't wait.
We few wanderers greet you, friend. We do not see many of our city brethren here in the woods. Would you help us break our fast? Come then and sit. Join us by the fire. I am Cyril, the clan's tale-teller. I understand you are venturing into the haunted forest to save our hunters. I suspect your efforts may be in vain. An entire group of our hunters went into the forest to do as you intend, and they have not returned. Ah, bravado. How encouraging to see it in our time of need. Our people lie sick and dying, but you boast for our amusement? How thoughtful. Nothing will help us now, least of all the meddling of an outsider.
You are being most unkind, Cyril. Would you refuse our hunters' help simply because of the hand that offered it?
You shame me, Lethalan. I have allowed my bitterness to cloud my better judgment. Forgive me, Grey Warden. It is most difficult to forget the lessons the Shemlin have taught us.
It is even more difficult when you live amongst them, trust me.
Perhaps I can yet make amends. Stay while I spin a tale for our children. And then I will tell you of the forest if you desire. Come and join us then, all of you. Now, what say we tell the story of the fall of the Dales? Which of you children knows that best?
I think I do.
Yes? Then come, child. Oh, don't be frightened of the outsiders. Now, where do you suppose such a tale should begin?
When we were slaves?
Yes. Long ago, our people were slaves to an empire the Shemlin had built on the darkest magic. They took away our history and our language and left us nothing. And then that empire fell, and we were freed.
Because Andraste came with her army, and Shartan joined her.
Yes. Andraste, the Shemlin prophet, came out of the south and challenged the Tevinter Imperium. Our ancestor, Shartan, fought at her side. And when the rebellion came to an end, we were given a new homeland in the west, the Dales. We began to rebuild the culture and history we had lost in our years of slavery. We worshipped the creators and made the Dales our home. Perhaps you know what happened next, stranger. Do you know what happened to the Dales? Indeed. They resented that we would not worship their maker, and they resented our ways because they were so different from their own. The Shemlin nations grew cold towards the Dales. They called us blasphemers and tyrants, and declared war upon us. A great crusade. Told by whom? A history that has been dictated by the victors, no doubt. Oh, I am certain we played a part in our downfall. We believed that the Shemlin would not revoke their prophet's gift so lightly. We were wrong. They took our lands, forcing us to abandon our gods and live as beggars in Shemlin cities. But there were those of us who refused to abandon our ways. They emblazoned the symbols of the creators upon their flesh and vowed to keep their ancient lore alive.
That's us. That's the Dalish.
Indeed, child. We chose to wander, homeless, rather than be ruled by the Shemlin. And all our clans wander alone until the day we have a homeland once more.
Then we bring the old ways back to our people, because they have forgotten it all.
For we are the Dalish, the keepers of the lost lore.
The walkers of the lonely path.
We are the Elvenan, and never again shall we submit. And that is the tale of the Dales, stranger. Thank you for allowing us to tell it to you. Didn't we? You always have a choice. I'm glad you chose to listen.
I greet you, stranger. It is good to see another elf, even if you are not one of the wandering clans. I trust my people have not been too harsh in their treatment of you. It is not our intention to insult a Grey Warden. We are simply wrapped up in the plight of our hunters. It is easy to forget simple niceties at such a time. I understand you will search for the wolves in the Brecillian Forest. I would join you, but Zathrian has forbidden me. We are banned from entering the forest now. I have more cause than most, but I will not disobey my keeper. I suppose there's no harm in telling a fellow elf, but surely you have greater concerns than any problem of mine, no? Well, perhaps you could help me with it. I would certainly appreciate anything you could do. My wife Dalish and I both fought the werewolves in the ambush. She was injured so gravely, the curse spread rapidly in her. Zathrian fought hard to ease her pain, but there was little he could do. And though he says that Dalish is dead, he will not let me see her body. I am beginning to believe she became a werewolf, and that it is being kept from me so I do not go chasing after her. If I could just know if Dalish is alive, or what happened to her, then I could be at peace. No, it would be very rude to accuse the Keeper of lying. I know he means well. I just need to know, one way or another. If you were in the forest, perhaps you might come across her, alive or dead. Any news would be better than none. And in return, I would be happy to gift you an amulet made by our craftsman. It may fetch you some coin in the human lands. You are most kind.
It speaks. Yes. It destroyed the Anvil of the Void. I would not have thought... It could just as easily have defied Caridon, I think. I feel I owe it. Enough that I'm willing to remain with it and assist in its crusade against the Darkspawn. Unless it wishes me to leave. No doubt. Without me, it would have to carry its inventory on its own. I did not think it needed to be said. It has never told me what gender it is, has it? Good for it. I am sure that to other creatures as soft and weak as itself, that would be perfectly obvious. The truth is that whatever gender I was is irrelevant now. I am a golem. I have no gender. It will not become an issue. Oh ho ho. I can tell that this is going to be a whole pile of laughs. Oh yes. Comedy goldmine. Now, let us crush something soft and watch it fountain blood. That is a girlish thing to want to do, yes?
What's on your mind? I try not to dwell too much on the mistakes of my past, of which there are many. I would go quite mad if I did that. But I do have one regret. The greatest misstep of my life, made even more grave because it had dire consequences for someone else. Years ago, I was assigned as mentor to a lad, Anarin. He was my first apprentice. Anarin was an elf, raised in one of the elven alienages, and he was very mistrustful of humans, especially humans in authority. What Anarin needed was time. Time to get used to his new home, time to emerge from his shell, so we could build a rapport. I gave him no such time. I was young and arrogant. He is a mage, I thought. He needs to grow up and act like one. I expected too much from him too quickly. I gave no consideration to his origin or his feelings, and he retreated further from me. All I could think of was how stubborn he was, how he was throwing away all his talent and his potential just to be difficult. Oh, age and wisdom have mellowed me. I was quite different back then. Much more unforgiving. You cannot plant crops in the cold, wintry ground. You cannot teach a student who is closed off and unresponsive. Patience is what is needed, and I learned that too late to help him. Anarin ran away from the circle one night. I had berated him over some trivial, ridiculous matter that I no longer remember. I drove him away because of something utterly unimportant. He was a child, 14 at the time of his leaving. They had his phylactery, and they hunted him down. The phylactery is a vial of blood taken from a mage. But blood is connected to life, and your blood can be used to track you down. They called him Maleficar, a mage who practices forbidden magic, deserving of death. He was a child, misunderstood and lost. I begged the Templars to tell me if he suffered, if they gave him a quick death. I got no answers from them. I was his mentor, and they wouldn't even tell me what became of him. I should have known better. I had the best mentors. They were kind, compassionate. Why didn't I learn from them? I failed Anarin. All I had to do was listen to him. He would try to talk to me, and I would tell him to concentrate on his spells. He talked about the alienage sometimes, and the Dalish. He always talked about looking for the Dalish elves. The Templars are well-trained and thorough. That he still lives, it would be a vain hope. The apprentices that came after Anarin benefited greatly from the lessons I learned from him. In a sense, he was my teacher, and I his student. And there it is, my story, my one greatest regret.
Is there something you need?
I appreciate you trying to find him, but what are the chances?
Anarin the healer?
You know Anarin?
He lives? No, it can't be him. Perhaps it is a common elven name.
No, I know of only one Anarin.
Ah, it makes sense. Anarin said that he was from the human cities. You are old friends, then?
If you seek Anarin, you must venture into the forest. He prefers to be amidst the trees and the animals.
Thank you all so much.
Dareth Shirral.
The Watchwolves have spoken truly, my brothers and sisters. Another of the Dalish come to put us in our place. Come to make us pay for our attack. We are beasts, but we are no longer simple and mindless. Let that thought chill your spine. You speak to Swift Runner. I lead my cursed brothers and sisters. Turn back now. Go back to the Dalish and tell them that you have failed. Tell them we will gladly watch them suffer the same curse we have suffered for too long. We will watch them pay. That we do! How dare they send you here against us? Turn and leave while you still have the chance! Very well. I will not risk throwing my people at you like unthinking brutes. Come, brothers and sisters, let us retreat. The forest has eyes of its own, and it will deal with intruders as it always has.
Yes. That's what it is then.
beast be thee that comes before this elder tree? Ah, thou speakest of the others, how filled they are with hate. I apologize on their behalf. They cannot control their fate. Allow me a moment to welcome thee. I am called the Grand Oak, sometimes the Elder Tree.
The world is certainly full of marvelous, unexpected creations. Each day we see something that we never thought possible.
Wow.
And unless thou thinkst it far too soon, might I ask of thee a boon? I do not know. Why dost thou not? Thy words seem plain, a mundane lot. Perhaps a poet's soul's in me. Does that make me a poetry? My nature is a simple guise. I cannot make it otherwise. I am an elder oak and nothing more. Though once I dreamt of a time before when I roamed the world and howled with pain, not of this world, but twixt and twain. Perhaps I was a spirit then, a wandering thing drawn to this glen. But then that spirit joined with a tree. Since then, a tree is all I be. Of the Sylvans, this is true. They are quite mad, their virtues few. A spirit trapped within a tree, no mouth to scream or eyes to see. A cage of bark, a prison wood, a thing of rage where nature stood. So twisted Sylvan they become. But I am not the same as some. I accept my fated oaken home. I feel no need to rage and roam. I have but one desire, to solve a matter very dire. As I slept one early morn, a thief did come and steal an acorn. All I have is my being, my seed. Without it, I am alone indeed. I cannot go and seek it out, yet I shall die if left without. My wooden skin has some magic, see, and part of it I can give to thee. Without my will, the wood is still. Pray, why wouldst thou kill a tree for nothing that's of use to thee? The forest would see thee as a tree, and so no harm would come to thee. Wilt thou then perform the task? Wilt thou save me, as I ask? Go to the east to find this man. I shall await. Do what thou can.
Oh dear, oh dear. Not a werewolf, and not a spirit even. What are the woods coming to? Questions, questions, always questions. They say it was questions that made me mad. Will it do the same for you? Ask a question and you'll get a question, but give an answer and you'll receive the same. Oh, I do so love to trade. No! That is not a question. And if it be an answer, it be an answer to a question I've not asked. Have you no sense for the rules?
Be careful, Grey Warden. This is no ordinary man. He is a mage. Driven mad, perhaps, but still powerful.
No fair bringing mages to a guessing game. Will you play by the rules or not? I think it is your turn to ask, is it not? Who am I? Why do you want to know? Did they send you? Did they tell you to ask? Oh, did they tell you to pretend to be an innocent stranger with a head full of fluff and nothing? I'm trickier than I look. Ha! I survive still, and the trees, they leave me be. Ha! I've won. They will never find me. Never. So you did. But I'm watching you. If they sent you, I'll know. But that's all I have to say about that. An answer for an answer. There you go. May I? Oh, yes, I think I might. Now, what shall be the first? Oh, yes. What is your name? Aha, so you claim. They sent you, didn't they? But you're too tricky, and you're trying to fool me. Well, I'm on to you, just so you know. But it is your turn to ask now. Ask. Ask away, I dare you. Yes, I live here, and it's not as bad as you think. Where else to go, eh? I must stay away from them. They're out there and looking. They will take your secrets, oh yes, all of them, and leave you empty. Where were you born? So you say, fiendishly clever of you to maintain this facade for so long, but I will see through it yet. Mark my words. But it is your turn to ask now. Ask. Ask away, I dare you. Suddenly it all becomes clear. You here, that talking tree there, it all makes sense now. As a matter of fact, yes. I do have that tree's acorn. I stole it, and it was easy. Silly tree should have locked it up tighter. If you want it, you'll have to trade me for it. And nothing from that silly tree. No leaves or branches or anything. Let's see. Do you have a knowledge of the arcane arts? If I could tell, I wouldn't have to ask you now, would I? Do you have the knowledge or not? Oh, well, that's disappointing. But wait, what if you are lying? Ah, you thought to scamper away without suspicion, did you? Well, I'm onto you. Oh, I see. You're going to report to them now, are you? Fine. Goodbye. Hold on, you. That's private property. That's an old man's home, that is. Keep out. Keep out.
No offense, but might I try? I've got a quick hand, after all. Ha, let's see. Oh, when was the last time I slipped my hand into some dark hole? I remember, long story that. And there we go. It was definitely trapped, but I'm too awesome by far. Here's what was inside.
You're a robber, is what you are. They sent you, didn't they? Well, I'll show you. They won't get away with this.
My acorn is still gone, so I pray to thee. Hast thou any news for me? My joy soars to new heights indeed. I am reunited with my seed. As I promised, here it be. I hope its magic pleases thee. Keep this branch of mine with thee, and pass throughout the forest free. I wish thee well, my mortal friend. Thou brought my sadness to an end. May the sunlight find you, thy days be long, thy winters kind, and thy roots be strong.